Hello there, Taurus, and welcome to your March reading. It's really great to see you again, and I cannot wait to see what kind of energy, information, and guidance comes through for you this month. I like to start off every reading with channeled information, and for me, that comes when I select a deck of cards and begin to meditate right before this reading gets started. As I was doing that for you, one word came to mind, and that's decision. And I feel like if this were to be summed up by a single card, it would be like the Two of Swords, which is trying to figure out which path to take when there may not be an easy answer. And what you're going to have to do is do a little bit of soul searching and decide what's the best opportunity. There might be a little bit more risk involved with one path, but I feel like there's going to be more growth potential, something where you could spread your wings, because that was the other part of the image that I got. So if you're feeling that you're in a part of your life where you're just not feeling the growth or the expansiveness that you wish you could have, then there's a chance for you now to spread your wings and do something new, but that decision point is going to be difficult for some of you. The other part of this is just really deciding on what you want to do this month, really getting clear on your goals. So if there's no big decision that you have to make here in the first few weeks of the month, I want you to start to be a little bit more decisive about what's important to you from a health perspective, what you're trying to accomplish with your career, and try to get a little bit more goals oriented over the course of this month. That's going to help not only with organization, but also when you decide that you're ready for something, when you sort of broadcast that out to the universe, it allows for all of the energy around you to start to open up. So that's really the powerful part of thinking about things and deciding what you want, what you're looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, the universe can never provide it. So open up your heart, open up your mind, and release it. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the cards and see what additional insights they have to offer for the month of March. So to all of the folks that come here from month to month, I just want to first extend a thank you and warm welcome. And for anybody that's brand new, the way that I organize this reading is I'm going to start with a Celtic Cross, and then I expand the forecast, and I look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'll get to all of that in a moment, but at this point I'd like to remain quiet as I pull the cards so that just like you, I can see what kind of information they're bringing through. Okay. Before we get into the cards here, there's one additional oracle card that I want to pull, which is what I call a catalyst. And the catalyst is, if you could put a theme for the whole month, it would be that theme. It's also a connective thread that will help you understand the relationship between all the cards and also how to maximize the energy of the month. The catalyst for this month is Dragon, and this is a very powerful card. So the main piece of information that I'm getting when I look at this card is it's important for you to watch how you hold yourself. When I think of a dragon, I think of the fact that most of their power comes from the size, the history surrounding them, the intimidation that you might feel when you see it, but they don't necessarily have to breathe fire. You just know that that potential is there. So this month, I want you to feel the power that you can bring to situations. I want you not necessarily to be intimidating, but I want you to be a force that people respect and also see as bringing power, bringing a sense of prestige to anything that you touch. So if it's a relationship, notice how we've got this big eye here. It's about making eye contact and really making sure that that person sees, hears, and understands what you're saying, what you're feeling. If it's a business negotiation, the same thing. You want all of your energy to be present. You want to pay attention to your posture, your eyes, how you're presenting yourself, and really let them know that you're serious about whatever it is you're talking about. So present yourself in such a way that you have all of the power and the regal nature that a dragon would have. Definitely pay attention to eye contact and nonverbal communication this month. It's going to be really important. And I mentioned some of these decisions that might be coming through. We see this Tower card here, which I'm going to get at in a moment. There might be some things that are kind of thrown at you unexpectedly. What you want to do is try to, even if you feel a little bit uncertain inside, put on that facade that I can handle this. And think to yourself, even if I don't know right now how to do it, I'm not going to let that show. I'm going to figure it out. And that will help you protect yourself. And people will look at you as someone who has their stuff together, even if you're still trying to get all of the facts, get all of the information. So let's take a look at all of the cards and the relationship to what we've already talked about here. Your center card is quite good, actually. I absolutely love what's right in the center here. We have the Ace of Cups. So for those of you that might be ready to go after something in your life that you haven't had before, it could be getting married or a creative project, or you're just opening up your heart and mind to new things, the Ace of Cups supports you in that. As long as you are working, feeling, living your passion, that's when the universe has your back. If for some reason you're off the path a little bit, then it's going to be hard. So I really want you to embrace what your true desire is. It doesn't necessarily have to be love, but it could. And for some of you, that's coming through as a Leo. So there could be a nice Leo coming into the picture for you. Now, we have Temperance right over top of this, which shows me that you're going to be able to harness the passion in your life. And I think you're going to be able to do that without having things get out of hand. So that's really, really a great combination of cards at the center. When I'm looking at why this is coming through for you, it looks like you've done a lot of work in the previous months to set yourself up for the opportunities that are here now. Three of Pentacles is a card of recognition. For some of you, this could be about returning to school. This is a higher education card, or taking like a step-up opportunity where you decide that you're ready or willing to take on more responsibility. And I feel like that's already underway. If it hasn't already started, then again, this is about putting energy into finishing some sort of education or expansion of thoughts and knowledge. Now, as we look at what's affecting the first week of the month here in your recent past here, we have the Ace of Swords showing that you have a great ability to harness your communication skills, your written skills. And for those of you that need to negotiate this month, remember that you have the energy, you have the power to do so. It's going to be not just in your verbal communication, but that nonverbal communication that we talked about when we were looking at the catalyst. Your crowning card is Strength. Strength, again, showing your ability to push out what you're thinking about on others. If we were to think of a business person in the past that could do this very well, I think of Steve Jobs sometimes. Even though sometimes we didn't understand everything that he was talking about, or there might be some loopholes and things that didn't make sense, his charisma, his passion is what actually pushed it out and made people interested in it. If you believe yourself, you can kind of create this warp of reality around yourself and get people in on your side. So it's really important that you have that passion and that you feel it, just like we saw at the center with the Ace of Cups. If you do this, whatever it is you're trying to sell to the world, whether it's a new version of yourself, if you're trying to ask someone out on a date and you want the answer to be yes, if you're trying to get ahead at work, believing in yourself, feeling that you have some sort of a value to add to the equation, that's going to be essential to your success and also to them recognizing the power that you already have within. Let's turn the camera down for a second so you can see the other cards here. As I'm looking here at the near future, we have the High Priestess. Now, her positioning is important. She's right between everything that's happened and everything that's about to happen. So what I want to pay most attention to is, this is the Psychic card in the deck. You want to listen to your intuition. All of the guidance that you're receiving this month is valid, and if you second guess yourself, you could end up regretting that. So I don't want you to do that. The reversal of this card also speaks to a general warning that you don't want to have anybody in your life push you off your path. I'm talking about, earlier how you can be persuasive. You want to make sure that if anyone in your surroundings, whether it's in your life at home or at work, feels like they're kind of manipulating things or trying to play you, you want to check that and let them know that's not acceptable, or kind of give them a hint that you know what's going on. I think if you nip that in the bud, you'll be okay. If not, it could be a little bit tricky. The reason that I mention that is when I look in your ego position, you have this Tower card. It's upright, which means that changes are going to be underway this month, and you may not have complete control over all of these events. I think that's why the catalyst this month was saying, be strong, stand up for what you believe. Don't be afraid to fight for something if it's important for you. You may have an ability after the changes start to still impact the final decision, but the fact that the changes are happening, that's something that you really can't control. So let me give you an example. If, for instance, you're at a job and there's either a merger, restructuring, someone comes and goes, you can't really change that, but what you can affect is what happens after that. Now, of course, if you've been made redundant or have been let go from your position, then this is really just the universe saying it's time now to move on. And when you're going through that, it's never easy if something like that happens. But sometimes we kind of secretly wish or want for change to come to us, and we may not even be aware that sometimes we call these events into being. Now, whether or not that happened to you, I actually like the environment card. We have the Two of Wands, which means through some sort of a restructuring, rebuilding, or change event, there's going to be new opportunities that are coming through that are going to set you up for a better experience in the months to come. So I want you to try to go through the change that happens this month, whatever that is, and embrace the opportunities that happen afterwards. Now, if you are kind of feeling like, you know what, my job is secure, my life seems fine, this card is the universe giving you a little bit of nudge. Are you still happy with everything? Is there anything you'd like to do? Because the Tower card supports change that is also something of your own volition. So if you're feeling like your life is stable, but maybe your heart isn't in what you're doing, because we had that center card really speaking Ace of Cups to doing what you believe, doing what you want to do, then this is your chance to try something new. Strength can be a card of wanting to go out on your own and be your own businesswoman or businessman and basically owning your own company. So if you wanted to do something like that, that would be what we're seeing here. Just make sure that the changes that you make this month don't put your well-being, whether it's your health or your material well-being, at risk. Now, as we look at hopes and fears, this card is reversed, which means it's a muted version of the Ten of Swords. I want you to see any sort of change not to be a complete reflection of you. Sometimes change just happens and we're part of that so that we can experience growth. And it doesn't mean that you failed or succeeded or that you could have done something differently. So I want you to remove failure from any sort of change that's out of your hands. Just realize that sometimes there's a bigger movement of energy that's happening and you're a part of that. The other part of this is saying that there's an avoidable health snafu that could be happening around the 3rd or 4th week of the month. What this could be is you getting sick because you're running yourself down a little bit, not getting enough sleep. The other thing with this is if you have any sort of chronic pain in your body, you want to take care of that as soon as possible. I see this Ten of Swords as avoidable since it's in a malleable part of the spread here. It's in hopes and fears. And so I think a lot of this has to do with, it's almost like an aftershock from the Tower. So as you start to plan, you may start to worry about the future. Just realize that it feels like when this event is done, it's done. Now, when it comes to relationships, this could mean a breakup for some of you because both the Tower and the Ten of Swords with a High Priestess in reverse could show that it may just be time for you to separate from someone who might be a little bit too intense. And if that's the case, that's all right. Just know that if you are in any sort of breakup, there's a chance for you to reconcile if that's something you're interested in. If you're not, make sure that you make that clear when you separate. One silver lining for this, if any of you are in sort of a corporate restructuring or something where you're asked to leave, there may be a chance in the long term for you to possibly do freelance work. Whenever I see breakups, the Eight of Cups usually shows an opportunity to come back to that original place or to rebound to something similar without a long time having to pass. So that's a little bit of a silver lining. This is also a card showing there may be some delays in travel this month. I would actually avoid taking any unnecessary trips because that Eight of Cups is directly connected with the Ten of Swords. So that's showing me difficulties in travel. Now, there is another silver lining, which is it feels like overall you can make it through whatever changes happen this month. You want to try to take control of them once you understand what's happening. Strength combined with the Tower is actually good. This means making changes in your life for the better. So the positive aspect of this could be, you know what, we're going to decide to buy a property and take down this house and construct it from brand new. That's an example. This can be like construction and moving, but it's voluntary movement. So if you're doing something like that, deciding to renovate, rebuild, or you're deciding to take care of your health and do something that's for the betterment of your mind and body, then that's absolutely a good card. So just embrace things this month, any sort of change that's coming, and try to see what the blessing is in that. And I think you're going to be able to navigate it with success. All right, let's expand your forecast, and we'll begin first with your health card. We talked a little bit about something that could be avoided, so let's see if there's any additional insights on what you can do to stay healthy and happy this month. So it's really just about making sure that you don't overdo it. And that was the message that I got earlier as well. So we have this balance card that's reversed, and I'm looking at the Ten of Swords here, which is really about making sure that you don't push yourself too far. The other interesting thing with this particular balance card is it's showing an overlapping of two people. And so what can happen sometimes is, particularly when we see like the Strength card or sometimes the Empress card, there can be a need sometimes for someone to get into your space, or vice versa. You might be trying to control someone else. It's really important for you to separate what is important to you and what's important to that other person, and try not to blur the lines too much between the two, because this could create a false sense of, you know, your own energy could actually start to get agitated where it doesn't need to if a lot's going on in their life. So maintaining proper distance between you and that person will be very important. And just, if it's not a single person, it's people in your life. You just really want to, this month, have boundaries, observe the boundaries, and if people in your life are not respecting that, then you want to talk to them about why it's important. You've got to basically train and reinforce that this is proper etiquette, I guess you could say. I think if you do that, though, you're going to be able to avoid getting sick, avoid taking on too much. And some of those boundaries can also be making sure that you're not working to the point of exhaustion. So enough said on that. Let's take a look now and see what's coming through for wealth and finance. So your wealth card this month is to remove fear from the equation. When I see that fearless card, there's a couple things that I'm seeing. First, I want you to spread your wings and do something that you loved. I talked earlier that this might be a month where you decide that you want to really do something that you've always dreamed about, but maybe never have put forth the initial effort or figured out how to make it work. So do the research, ask some questions. If you do want to start a business or do something on your own, then look into how you can do that. With your wealth and your money, and it really doesn't matter what point of your life you're at right now, I want you to make sure that you're not afraid to invest in something. If there's something where you think the risk is too high, this probably isn't the time to do it. If you feel like you're not ready to do something big, like purchase a house, a car, a big luxury item, or if you're retired and you're not sure if you could like take a big chunk of money and put it into something or take a vacation, again, listen to that fear, educate yourself and see why the fear is coming up. And if it's valid, then observe that intuition, which is not now. Let's now take a look at love and relationships and see what the information is in that part of your life. For love, we have express yourself, and through art and I would say any sort of creative endeavor. So if you're trying to meet someone new in your life, this could actually be a way to do that. You could decide to take a class on painting or pottery or some other sort of skill that you've always wanted, dancing. The other thing is, when I look at love, it's really an extension of your passion, and you don't have to always put this into a relationship. Sometimes you can just put your passion into work. Sometimes you can put it into your art. For those of you that are creative, the fact that the center card was that Ace of Cups, and now we have this artistic expression card, I think you might want to channel more of your energy into your work and into your side projects than possibly trying to meet someone. Especially since, as we look at the cards here, you know, you have the Tower card and the Ten of Swords. I think the timing could be off a little bit. For relationships, you might want to wait a couple of months and make sure that everything's calmed down a little bit and you understand where you're at and what you're looking for. Now let's take a look at your Destiny card. I really like looking at Destiny because this is a chance for you to exercise free will. If you like where you're headed, perfect, you can stay on the same trajectory. If you want to make any course corrections, then this card can help inform how you want to do that and perhaps why. So the message for Destiny this month is the importance of carving a niche for yourself. As I look at this card, because it looks like that's almost carved straight into the tree. So what I think is important for you, especially if there's something going on in your family, in your life, where you work, and you're not sure where you fit in, you want to make sure that people understand what you're bringing to the equation. So if you haven't already defined your role in, like I said, a relationship, a job, or some situation, this is the month to get clear on that. And that was actually your channeled information at the beginning, was start making some decisions, be clear with your vision. Once you do that, people know how to deliver. If not, if you ever think of, if you've worked for someone and they don't tell you what they want, it's like you're constantly trying to figure out, is this right? Do they not like this? And so feedback is important, just as important as knowing what you want. So if you can state your intention, and in this case also state your why you should be there. You might have to, for those of you that are going through some sort of restructuring, there may be a chance for you to talk about what you're doing and if you want to keep doing it. So be ready to answer questions like that. It might be very helpful this month. So let's go ahead and review everything we talked about. As I just mentioned, the channeled information was really to focus on having a clear vision and being decisive in what it is you're trying to do. That's hard for some people because, you know, when we're a kid, we're posed with that question, what do you want to do when you grow up? Once we become adults, people don't check in again and say, do you like what you're doing? Would you like to do something else? They just assume that you're kind of stuck or you would change if you want to change. So I want to sort of like wake you up this month and help you see that you can always change. You can always decide, I'm ready now to make a shift. I want to do something different with the next 5 years, the next 2 years, the next month. I want you to embrace that ability to change. And that's really what the Tower is saying, is you're only as stuck as you want to be. Your catalyst card this month was to realize your own strength and to really let other people see it. If you've held back before, this is not the month to continue doing so. You don't want to be a wallflower this month, and you don't want to blend in. You want to be someone that people recognize and, again, appreciate and understand how they fit in. And that really was what your Destiny card was touching on too, is knowing, how am I part of this? And if you become such an essential part of a system that people couldn't imagine losing you, then that's like the perfect place to be if you're happy. If not, carve out a new niche that works for you, because again, you are the one that controls that. And so let's go ahead now and look at all of the cards in their positions. Again, creative energy is really surging this month for many of you. For those of you that are artists, writers, or have a way of expressing yourself through dance or the creative arts, so much positive creative energy that's supporting you. Even if you're in a very practical field or like research and development or business, this is still going to help you come up with new solutions that will help to differentiate you, your company, or your brand from others. When it comes to relationships, it's a little tricky right now. If you meet someone this month, it could kind of throw you topsy-turvy. So I want you to take your time. Know that if there is any sort of breakups or shakeups with relationships, there's a chance to get back together if that's something that you want. I really think that energy will be well put into work, particularly passion projects, because I feel like this energy doesn't have to go into love. It can go into what you love instead. As we expand your forecast, again, your health card is to have boundaries. Try not to get wrapped up in other people's business and extend the same courtesy and try not to get them too wrapped up in your life. Remove fear from the equation when it comes to money. Don't avoid doing something just because you're afraid of failure, and likewise, don't get yourself involved in some sort of an investment if you don't have enough information. That fear is definitely something you should pay attention to. But a fear of failure or taking a risk on something that you love, that's something you want to check and make sure that it's not just holding you back from doing something you love. We talked at great length about how your creative energy can go into artistic endeavors this month, and we also talked at great length about how to make yourself an essential part of the whole. Now, with that being said, that brings our monthly reading to a close. If you'd ever like to talk about something in your life, if you need some more guidance on changes, maybe there is a big event that's going on that is going to require you to make a big decision, a big shift in your life, and you want some advice, I'm here for you. You can check the first link below and look at my rates and availability if that's something you'd like to do. You'll also notice that there's 2 other links. The second one will allow you to give a donation to this channel if you'd like, and sometimes people wonder where that goes. It goes into purchasing cards, it goes into paying for the internet, for equipment, and all of the behind-the-scenes production costs that go into making 12 videos a month. So feel free to donate if you feel that this brings value to you from month to month. If you'd like to stay in touch, I would love for you to do that. And there's a lot of ways to do so. The easiest and most convenient for you is probably just to hit subscribe. You can also opt into notifications, which is that little bell icon. I'm also on several social media networks. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and I have a newsletter as well. And the newsletter is sent out once a month, so you can find out immediately when I'm posting new videos as well. Now, if you are a follower on Instagram, you want to look at that third link that I've posted below, because that's going to take you to my new Instagram page. I've decided to consolidate and change my handle, so please join me on that if you were previously following me on Instagram. Finally, and most importantly, the reason I show up every month is not just to give you some insight for what's coming through for the next 4 weeks. It's actually to help you bring your light and shine brighter. As I was meditating on all signs this month, I saw a beautiful chain of light that's starting to form with everybody that's working on themselves. So I want you to continue to do the work on yourself, knowing that that's making this planet a better place. It's countering some of the negativity that we're seeing. So sometimes we can't change what's going on the world stage, but we can change what's happening within. And as we all become lighter and brighter, then we make this world a better place. So thank you for allowing me to be part of that journey, and I wish you all the best this month and always. Talk to you soon. Bye.